Hello, everyone. Welcome to Todd Talks. We are back with Jim Davis. We're going to be talking about Unearthed Arcana. We took a week off, but we're going to be talking about the other subclasses that are not the armor,
right?
Which is still really awesome.
Listen, new hotness is always going to do this. Yeah.
I am addicted to new hotness.
Same.
Forever and ever. I can't stop making characters. I am now addicted. It's a problem. I admit that it's a problem.
Is it though? Is it a problem?
I have always had character ADD. And when I like something, even to the point where very few video games cause this to happen in me, Dragon Age Inquisition, you basically have like 3 routes you can go in that game. And I played through all of those. And then I did like a super quick build. And I can't remember all the details, but I played Dragon Age Inquisition all the way through 3 times.
Wow, that's a hefty game.
Oh yeah, I just love killing dragons. And it's not a tiny game.
I was gonna say I made it through halfway, and that part. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, even though it is an old game. But it's like that part where you're like, "Holy crap, that was epic." Is this just the intro? Yeah. And then you get to the game. I was like, oh man, I got to go back. I got to remake my character. Like I made a mistake. And so I don't know. I played it through halfway. I love it. It was great, but 3 times. Wow.
Yeah, I can get pretty obsessed about stuff because they gave me character options. I made it super. My favorite build was the Speedster. Because it's just like you're moving in slow motion and lightning is moving all around you. And it was just so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my God, it was the best build. Which is partially inspired by something I'm working on now. So let's talk about Unearthed Arcana. And so we've talked about the armor at length for a full hour.
Yes. Yeah.
As we are wont to do. Let's talk about the Circle of Stars Druid. Hard to wrap my mind around this for whatever reason. I guess because it's so psychedelic.
It really much is. So this is one of those things where I saw this and I was like, is WotC reading my mind? Because hear me out, like Pruitt's first like full length game that he DM'd, Emma, my spouse and one of WebDM partners, director of communications, played a druid who she was like, I'm not connected to the earth. I am connected to the universe.
Yeah.
Right. Like I am a universal druid wherever we go, because it was a Spelljammer campaign. Right. So she wanted to be able to connect with whatever planet she went to.
Yeah. And otherwise weird. Yeah.
And so we came up with this whole thing, but we used wizard divination. So you could, the Cosmic Omen was there. And I was like, oh man, this is good. I love Circle of Stars. Like I wish we'd had that 3 years ago. But yeah, the same thing. She turned into like a cosmic owl, sort of like a constellation type thing.
Oh wow!
I love it when the reality of the shared idea space is revealed for all as it truly is.
It's inevitable eventually. Yeah, yeah,
it is inevitable.
I mean, I was like 8 and I wrote a short story that was like Queen of the Damned.
Right? Yeah, I love it.
I'm not knocking Queen of the Damned, but
not at all. No,
Queen of the Damned was going to happen one way or the other. It doesn't matter who wrote it. So
it was bound. It was in the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Circle of Stars. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what we were looking for. We were like, at that point, we were just like a home group. WebDM hadn't taken off. We're just like stumbling with trying to figure out how to do this. And ultimately, I think we crapped out. We were just like, couldn't really figure out what else to do with it that didn't already just like come with being a druid, you know? And I like this one though. I really like Circle of Stars.
I do too. Like I need to dig into it a little bit more. I love the idea of having a star map.
Oh God, yeah.
Ooh, the curiosity inside me. If you're like a planeswalker and the stars are different.
Yeah.
Right? Constellations are like kind of very specific to your location in the universe. So
this is one of those things where I'm going to throw in Navigator's tool proficiency for free here.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just sort of where it's at. But yeah, I love the idea of some kind of star map and of you having to like commune with it. First off, I think that it's unfair that wizards are the only caster that gets a book or a thing. Right? Like I want my clerics to come with holy scrolls and my druids to be like, I peeled this piece of bark off an ancient tree.
They got a holy symbol, man.
They do have a holy symbol. Come on, I want more books because I'm a nerd.
Wands.
I got a grad degree. I love books, so I want everybody to have them. And the star map is right up there, I think.
Well, I gave Arkira Ildrex in our game Beyond Heroes a Book of the Phoenix, and that's how she communes with an elemental phoenix. So.
As well she should.
And anyone who touches it gets burned if you don't have resistance to fire.
It sucks for them. It really does. Come on, it's called the Book of the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot. It's like when you cook pizza, don't bite into it right away.
Right.
Like I always do.
Give it some time to set it, like steak, pizza, anything. Give it some time to rest.
I'm 42. I still make that mistake.
That's all right.
Because I'm a child. So you get to cast Augury.
Sure. All right, we'll come back to this. Yes, star map here. We get to cast Augury.
And Guild and Guiding Bolt without expending a spell slot.
Yeah, up to your wisdom modifier per day. Yeah. I like this. First off, like I was trying to think and just sort of rack my brain. There's not really like a big first level offensive druid spell like that, like Fairy Fire and Tangle. There's a lot of great first level druid spells, but just like I'm gonna tag you up with some damage. You're really doing more cantrip stuff. Yeah,
there's nothing like Guiding Bolt in so many ways. Also for your party, it does a lot of damage. I mean, for sorcerers, it's great if you're a Divine Soul Sorcerer because you can just win it. Then you're giving your entire party advantage. So it's a friendly neighborhood. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting for first level. I will say.
Certainly.
So yeah, that's pretty great. Starry Form. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about Starry Form.
I gotta tell you, there's not a lot of abilities in D&D where I have to say like you do this. Everyone's looking at you.
Yeah.
Right?
This is so this replaces your wild shape. You're using a wild shape feature. I'm
increasingly happy with this because druids didn't used to always be about wild shape.
Exactly. Wild shape used to be really weak as well.
Wild shape was just a thing to the side that would happen. It wasn't a core ability, and druids have definitely kind of wandered off the path with that.
Yeah. In second edition, I always used it as a TPK insurance. Like I can always turn into a sparrow and get out of here, guys.
Yeah. Well, now you can't do that. So
yeah, now you
fly.
can't. So.
Yeah, they took away that joy. No. Yeah, well, I mean, flying is the worst.
Yeah. It can be, certainly.
It can be really, really terrible.
Starry Form, though, I feel like is a perfect new, like they're doing something new with something old. Right? Like you're saying, like wild shape didn't used to be this core feature of the druid, so like let's play with it a bit. Let's do other things with it. And as I'm reading it, you can still turn into animals, right? Like you're still a druid.
Oh, you still have the ability,
right?
Just like the wildfire, which my wife just tested, and holy crap, if you want to lay down all the damage in the world, play a wildfire druid.
Nice.
As this blasty blast.
I really want to. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
So here,
yeah, you get to choose from a couple of constellations here. You shed bright light, by the way, because you are just, oh man, this is like a 1970s music video trip. You just shine bright light, and you can see the constellations in your entire form. It's kind of crazy. You're just luminous.
I see a star druid and like I forget what the monk order was, but one where just like you're tapping into your
Way of Shadow, or
Way of Shadow too, light and dark.
The lightness and the darkness.
Yeah, I love this. I love the imagery of it. So you were about to talk about the three options before I
well, how about you run me through those?
All right. So we got Chalice, which is a constellation of this life-giving goblet. And then whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot that restores hit points to a creature, you or another creature within 30 feet can regain hit points equal to D8 plus half your class. And so the way I'm kind of seeing that is like, is this trying to get around like using a healing spirit to cheese a Chalice, combat healer build or something? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends what kind of class campaign I'm running. But I see like this is one of those things that puts it on par with some like Shepherd or the Druid. I forget the order, or the Circle of the Dreams. Right?
Yeah, Circle of Dreams is super party friendly.
Right, and this is one of those. And having played a 5th edition Druid, you are squishier than you might first think you are, because you don't have like a heavy armor proficiency. Depending on what kind of DM you've got, it might not be worth it to cast Bark Skin. And like, if you're a caster, you don't always want to be in your animal form either.
No.
So like having something that's kind of like topping you off and just making sure that you're okay, and that like one big hit isn't going to take you out, can be really good if you're playing like a support druid.
Yeah.
Next one is Archer, which is constellation appears on you.
Yeah.
It's for our elf druids. You can make a ranged spell attack hurling a new luminous arrow at targets that you can see within 60 feet of you. And on an attack, it does radiant damage equal to D8 plus wisdom. So like, I really like this because it supports either like spell casting, because you can use your bonus action to get functionally like a cantrip's kind of, like a first level cantrip at least.
Yeah.
Or you can use it to augment like a different kind of weapon attack.
Yeah.
And I like a bow wielding druid. I love a good bow wielding druid.
It's kind of interesting. Like if you have a scimitar, I mean, you're just kind of John Wicking it right now, right? Like you're just like God. stab zap.
Yes, you're like Link, right? Like
yeah.
your fully charged sword.
This is a weirdly combat friendly druid. They're all combat friendly. They're all tanky and great for combat. Actually, people not necessarily druids.
Yeah. And then dragon is constellation. You appear as a wise ancient dragon, or it appears on you rather. And then whenever you make an intelligence or wisdom check or a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration, treat a roll of 9 or lower as a roll of 10. This is like reliable talent. That's like, think about that for a minute. Enemies have to be doing more than 20 damage to you.
Yeah.
Before you have to worry about making your constitution saving throws, right?
Yeah. It's you're like a spell tank. Constitution and wisdom. Because not a lot is going after charisma or an int.
It's only the one saving throw. It's int or wisdom checks.
Oh, okay.
So that's like your nature or survival, something like that, right?
Checks. Okay.
And it's the Constitution saving throw here.
I read that. Sorry, I was gonna say. Oof.
No, it's all right. That's all right. I think even 6 years in, the difference between attack, check, and save still trips people up. Like you're still rolling a d20, usually adding the same kind of thing. But dragon is really cool because I think of it in terms of like your skill abilities, right? Or your skill proficiencies rather. And that probably translates into any tool proficiencies you have that key off of those intelligence or wisdom as well. At least I would have it rule that way. And then just like, do I need to keep this flaming sphere going? There's a lot of concentration spells that druids have, and a lot of them are their damage dealers. And like, if you lose concentration on Call Lightning or Flaming Sphere or any other one of the big damage boosting, spells for druids, then it like really, really sucks. You've got to like bring that back up and use your actions again. And so this is like, no, guys, I'm made of star stuff. You can't deflect my power.
Not always a huge fan of giant specifics because I like reflavoring things and already we have a question from William Moore in chat. Question: how well do you think you guys can reflavor the Circle of Stars Druid for an Eldritch theme? And wow, yeah, I totally would do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, why not make you super creepy?
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, and Eldritch the stars are kind of one of those things that are usually menacing in D&D.
Right.
They hide terrors and are themselves can be evil, like one of the things that I love about 4th edition was that dragon article about the stars that a starry pact warlock is calling upon, like who is Caiaphas,
exactly,
and or Agathis, I guess, another
Agathis. All that's been sort of lost in 5th edition.
It has. And so I can see the druid in this case as being like a protector of that. Or not a protector, but like a protector against that. Like I am a star warrior, fools, and like when I use Flame Blade, it's not the natural fire that of a forest fire or something. It's like the heart of a sun that I call to me. Like I would totally allow like a cosmic eldritch Order of the Stars druid in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
like
I mean, this is why I like flavoring, like that. Like Travis William plays a Hexblade Warlock that's attached to a sea-like creature.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you do it?
Why wouldn't you do it? Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just reflavor wherever you want to?
I might even let you switch up spell lists if we're going that route. Like I might do something crazy and be like, come on, man, you can take both like certain wizard spells that make sense, like increase your repertoire.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of like popping in new spells for stuff, because you don't necessarily need a new subclass, but sometimes you need some new spells to make it work.
Oh yeah.
So I have a very itchy nose today. I am sorry. So now we have Cosmic Omen.
Yes.
You can learn to use your star map to divine the will of the cosmos itself. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can consult your star map for omens. When you do so, you roll 1d6. You gain one of the following possible omens based on whether you rolled an even number or an odd number. So this is interesting. So what are those?
So we've got wheel, which is sort of something beneficial, and those pop up on even rolls of the d6. And it's basically whenever a creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an attack roll, saving throw, or an ability check, you can use your reaction to roll a d6, adding the number to that total. And then woe, which comes up on that initial d6 roll as an odd. It's basically kind of this sort of the same thing in reverse. If you see someone within 30 feet of you that has making a throw, a check, or an attack roll, you can roll a d6 and subtract that from the roll. You get that equal to a wisdom modifier per long rest. And I love divination mechanics that are pure mechanics and let the player and DM figure out the narrative of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because too often, like, and this is the case with, say, augury, where the DM might not know exactly what's happening yet to accurately predict whether the augury is can tell you something useful. And so I much prefer things that are like, this just gives you a bonus somewhere. Like it gives you a d6 roll, lets you replace another roll with something different. And then it's up to the DM and the player to like figure out how this worked out. Like, I read your horoscope this morning, Goblin, and you are not going to hit me today.
This is the day you die.
Right.
It's really strong, and you can use this as a reaction up to a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier.
Yeah.
I mean,
stacks with bardic inspiration, bless. There's lots of things you can do. Yeah. Yeah,
this is not as powerful as like divine portents, but for the diviner, but still, you can use it way more often.
Yeah. And here's the question that I have then. Would you allow the d6 roll to, if it's, say you rolled a 4 on the d6 and you got a 16, that turns it to a 20, because you're adding the number to the roll, like, would you count that as a roll of a 20?
No.
Because this is something different?
No. No. I would never do that.
No.
I keep 20, natural 20s. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You preserve they free ranged. They're out there, no fences, just wild and free.
Wild and free. Just free range 20s running out there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's as rules is written.
I think so too. Yeah. I didn't think they were trying to backdoor it.
Stop trying to break the game, Jim.
I may or may not allow certain things to do that in my home games.
You have a whole show about this kind of stuff.
I do. That's right.
Yeah. So Full of Stars. This is invoking some 90s music. Starry-eyed surprise. What a terrible song. Full of Stars, 10th level Circle of Stars feature while you're in your starry form.
Yes.
You can be partially incorporeal, giving you the resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. It's pretty straightforward, everyone. You're just real tough. Tanky.
I love the sidebar rule tip though. Because I swear I have had numerous arguments over exactly the order of operations that you apply. Is it immune, resistance? If I'm vulnerable to it, when does it's all of that kind of stuff takes in. I appreciated this little rule tip here for those of you who are.
I think D&D could use a lot more of it.
Yeah, I love these little rule tips that they put in UA, and I kind of wish that they stayed with them into the PHV and DMG.
That's kind of my feeling. Do too. I feel like when you say poison condition, that's not enough. You need to outline what the poison condition is every time. I really do.
One of the things that I love about D&D Beyond.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. This is
it's like you just can't get beyond.
This is one of those things that makes D&D Beyond so strong is that
it's like right there.
You can fix that kind of issue.
You could just hover over it. Yeah.
But when you're reading it in a book, you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to look up the poison condition now. So
Where you devote precious brain space to memorizing it.
Yeah. Which I'm all out of at this point.
Right.
So at the end of all of this, we have Star Flare. Your connection to the cosmos allows you to conjure brilliant starlight. As an action, you conjure a burst of light with a 30-foot radius sphere centered on a point you can see with 120 feet. It's a lot of range. You can immediately teleport each willing creature in the sphere to an unoccupied space within 30 feet of it. Each creature remaining in the sphere must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell DC or take 10 points of radiant damage and be blinded until the end of their next turn. Once you've used this action, you cannot use it again until a long rest or until you expel a spell slot of 5th or higher to use it again.
Yeah.
I am thinking how I would use this.
This is this tripped me up when I first read it because I was like, what is going on here? And then I was like, there's really no other way druids have to protect their friends from an AoE. And this is like, I'm going to set off this mini supernova, but I've got like my barbarian and paladin are in there. I don't want them to get hurt. I'm going to teleport them to the outside. And because it's within 30 feet, they'll be able to just use their move next time to get back in without taking their opportunity attacks.
Yeah.
And then everything inside of it is blinded. Couldn't make the opportunity attack if it wanted to. It fails saving it. So that's how I see it. But to me, it's weird because we haven't seen any real teleport stuff yet. And so it just kind of is like narratively, I'm trying to make sense of it. But ability wise, I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And stars don't get that bright. I mean, of course they do because the sun's a star. But yeah, it is. It's kind of like solar flare, star flare, solar flare. I can see what they're doing here. Tactically, I think it's really fun. I always think of like going up against Lich every time once you're at like 14th level and you're having a big scrap. This is the kind of stuff you do want to do.
Yeah, 40-10 radiant that could be potentially be very bad news for the kind of things you're fighting around 14th level.
Exactly.
There are, you might be facing down hordes of tough undead, like you might need to clear the field of a bunch of ghouls or something like that. Like one of them's going to get one of their paralysis bites is going to get through somehow.
Right. This works very well for the upcoming Theros, which I don't believe it's in, but still works really well for it. It's very on brand for, kind of Greek Roman mythology.
Especially that world, because if I recall that pack in Magic the Gathering, there's a lot of star themes in the art and cards and everything.
Right. I think this is just a latecomer to that kind of genre. It's not the druid for me necessarily, but I think mechanically it's very, very, very sound. Clearly, it may even get nerfed a little bit, which is kind of often the case with any kind of UA. But
that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
It's easier to power down than build up, I think.
Certainly.
Yeah. You go like, that's too much. Let's rein it in. Yeah.
I mean, I do go overpowered sometimes. I've got a sorcerer and hey, Google, I'm not asking you questions.
Well, everybody else, my Google ignores me. I can never get it to do anything. And, it plays animal sounds, which was handy for having a 3-year-old.
Drop at the hat. Just decided to chime in on our conversation.
I feel so hurt now, Google.
So Lauren Urban is pretty excited about the Stars Druid for some reason. Or she will not stop sending me images about the Star Druid. So
let's unlock our chakras and take to the stars. Let's do it. I love it.
And that's how the campaign ended.
What a way to hit 20th level, right?
We just went up into the sky like the end of Dragonheart. Or Thor the Dark World. That was a sad scene. I don't care what anyone says. There are some gems in Thor the Dark World. So
surely.
I cried during that movie. If a movie makes me cry.
I like the way they did Dark Elves.
Horror cry. Yeah, there's Dark Elves in there. There's the Cursed. You've got,
it's got the Ninth Doctor as well. How can you not like it?
Does it have the Ninth Doctor?
It does. It's got the guy
it does have the Ninth
before
Doctor.
David Tennant.
Yeah. I could have not had him in that movie.
I like him as the Ninth Doctor. I'm not sure of what else I've seen him in other than Thor Dark World.
Yeah. I'm commenting. I'm trying to be positive.
But Circle of the Stars, if your fantasy game looks more like the Asgard and Thor, like from those movies, and there are D&D 5th edition does that style of fantasy very well, I think.
It does.
Just like, I think that the Circle of Stars fits right in there. Yeah. Why aren't you traveling to the stars to go seek out oracles and things like that? Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I would do in this? Some kind of Asgardian, Rainbow Bridge.
Yes.
At 14th level instead.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I do a dimension shift thing because this is about the stars and the cosmos. Certainly not on the Greek theme, but if you want to like talk about Asgard, 14th level, something you can go to any plane of existence.
Yeah, I like that.
Or not any plane, but any world or sphere or whatever we're doing right now. I don't think spheres are really a thing in 5th edition.
I don't think so. I'm not sure that they make sense.
They never did. Never did.
They do if you're a medieval person. They made perfect sense to them in 1300.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, when I was playing first and second, it was a second edition, we started seeing Spelljammer, and they're like, yeah, all the worlds are in an actual crystal sphere, and you have to find other crystal spheres.
And they float in the Phlogiston.
Yeah. And I instantly was just kind of like, okay, now I'm starting not to believe in D&D. Like when you've broken that covenant of fantasy where things have gone so weird.
Yeah. Sure, I break it all the time. Yeah, I do. I know well that barrier because I try to smash it wherever I see it.
It's kind of like when I had a friend when I was a little kid come over and they made like Luke Skywalker fly.
Yes.
We were playing with our Star Wars toys. I'm like,
he
can't fly. And he's like, I'm using the Force. And little did I know The Last Jedi would somehow confirm their belief.
Right. And like all the Clone Wars.
Still a horrible moment though.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry for you.
Sorry, Last Jedi.
Most people had Star Wars ruined in another way. But
yeah, it wasn't like
more interpersonal.
Piled it on. That just add more weird moments that were unnecessary. Yeah. Question: what other subclasses do you feel complement the Star Druid for a star-themed campaign? Horizon Walker, maybe. That's more planar, not really stars. I think Shadow. I mean, Kate Welch actually said something strange to me during an interview about her character for the C team. She chose. She actually chose for Rosie Beestinger, the Shadow Monk, Way of Shadow, because her character had an affinity for Starlight, not the opposite. So I thought that was kind of an interesting read on the Shadow Monk.
I would say Way of the Astral Self, the monk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
That fits very well.
Even Shadow Sorcerer, if you're going with that theme of light and darkness,
definitely.
That's kind of interesting. Then Twilight, there's a Twilight Druid as well.
Right. Yeah.
All the light is in Druid right now. Apparently.
All there.
Yeah. All the light you could want.
I might say I'm tempted to say Psionic Wizard, the Psionics Wizard, because they are already on that barrier between like breaking barriers and like transforming their magic into something else.
Right. Yeah. And then Aberrant Mind. I mean, if you're going for that, I mean, you already have everything you need to make a star campaign, whether it be creepy or kind, or both.
trying to think of some good tanks for it. But other than like Eldritch Knight,
there's no Star Paladin yet.
Yeah,
the Rune Knight could easily be reflavored for that's the runes that you see in the sky.
Yeah. Instead
of the giants.
But, I mean, Hexblade could easily be reflavored for like a Star Knight. Your blade forged in the heart of a star.
Oh god.
You know what I mean? Like that's some Ragnarok.
Of course,
not Ragnarok, the other whichever one. I forget now. They all run together.
Forged in the heart of a dying star.
Right.
Me on here. So don't mess with me in Norse mythology. So Fey, let's talk about this ranger.
Let's talk about the Fey Wanderer.
I have feelings with the ranger. I'm not gonna lie. So buckle up, everybody. So Fey Wanderer. As a Fey Wanderer, you guard the border between the Feywild and the material plane. I am sold. Guiding the lost out of the Feywild and preventing dangerous Fey from damaging the material plane. Your experience with both those domains makes you an exceptional negotiator between the inhabitants of these worlds as you understand both humanoid mindsets and as well as the wiles of the Fey court. Fey Wanderers possess a preternatural blessing from a Fey ally or place of Fey power. You can choose the blessing from from one of these Feywild gifts table, or you can determine it randomly. These are not really gifts. These these are affectations. Yeah. So you can have illusory butterflies flutter around. You can have seasonal flowers sprout from your hair at each dawn. You faintly smell of cinnamon. Great. Yeah. I feel like I already do because I use a lot of cinnamon. So there you go. Your shadow dances while no one is looking directly at it. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Let your shadow dance like no one's looking.
Like no one's watching.
Yeah. Delicate horns. Who doesn't want to have horns? Your skin and hair change color to match the season at each dawn. All good flavor stuff. And of course, I would make up my own creepy.
Oh, sure. I'm already thinking I'm going Eladrin, Fey Wanderer. So you double down on the weird, creepy Fey ability kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, my idea for this already would be Eladrin, Fey. I mean, I could have done Changeling, I guess, from Eberron because Changeling. This is the sorcerer I'm working on right now. Yeah. For the Feywild sorcerer, but like an Eladrin that was adopted would be interesting by elves. That's interesting, or by wood elves. Very much. And so you're kind of like one part of both worlds, like, and a little bit alienated from the other wood elves, right? Because you are other. Yeah. So Fey Wanderer magic, you can learn additional spells, which is very common now. Charm, but we only get one at each of these levels instead of two. We got Charm Person, totally great fit. Misty Step naturally. For some reason, I thought Misty Step was part of the Rangers repertoire.
No, it's a great addition to it, but I don't think that it is, unless I'm horribly mistaken.
I don't know why I thought it. I just assumed it was. You get Dispel Magic at 9th. There's certainly charms and curses are a big part of the Seelie and the Unseelie courts. So, Banishment, of course. Mislead, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Give me Mislead. Everyone should get a chance at Mislead. It's the big Loki ability. Let them have it. Yes. So now you can have a fighter that finally gets Mislead at 5th, fightery type of character. So it's a good spell list. It's not. I
get it. I mean, to me, like Misty Step is the big winner here because you get it early enough that you're going to use it off. You're going to use it a lot. Yeah. I see something like Banishment and even Charm Person because usually your casting stat as a ranger isn't like your best stat. Yeah. And those rely on saves. Like there's moments to use them, and having Banishment just as a clutch is nice. Like everybody else has done it. Well, I got a spell slot left. I'll give it a shot.
And it's implied. And this is a ranger that goes very well with the Horizon Walker. And that may be what's kind of causing an issue with I feel this subclass personally. The fact that the Horizon Walker already exists. And I love the Feywild. So
I can't see that. And this is where because then it begs the question is that like, is the Horizon Walker supposed to be generic enough to cover all the borders of the Prime and other planes? Or is it like, can we get a Shadow Ranger? Which I guess Gloomstalker kind of already is.
Yeah, Gloomstalker kind of is, but they're not really associated with the Shadowfell. Easy to kind of,
just declare, easy. That one's a pretty easy reskin. But like some of the inner planes, right? Like what does an Astral Ranger look like?
Right.
Or an Ethereal Ranger. And so like if Horizon Walker isn't going to be a one size fits all, and I think that Fey Wanderer is a great class. I don't think we should get rid of it.
Yeah,
it does kind of beg the question of what other boundaries deserve their dedicated subclass.
Right. Yeah, and what's interesting is like I have played because I do love Rangers, and originally my personal character Avon was originally a Ranger in first edition. And I always played it as kind of like someone who ferries people to other locations. So I like this idea of the Fey Wanderer, like getting people out of the Feywild or getting people back to the Feywild. Right. That's why I gravitated so heavily towards the Horizon Walker with that concept, and illusion magic. Anything that's trickery, like Trickery Domain works really well. If you want to play anyone who's like an illusionist who isn't a jerk, illusions are a great way to save large populations of people from imminent death.
Sure.
You know, like you can be a person who gets people across a border. You can get them to another plane of existence that maybe is safer for that person. If you like that concept, Horizon Walker is fantastic. And even being an illusionist and even Trickery Domain, it's all kind of in that wheelhouse. If you don't want to be like the evil Loki character.
Right. And like, it's one of those things where just thinking about the Feywild and what kind of we know about it from the DMG and the sort of place that it is, it seems natural that there'd be someone who's like, all right, I'm going to go rescue those people. Like, it's not that they were kidnapped by evil Fey or anything. It's just they went walking at the wrong time of day.
Exactly.
Or through the wrong crumbled arch or something like that.
It has a range of danger for the Fey. As I look at the Feywild, it's okay. If you go to Ravenloft in the Shadowfell, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're just in trouble.
It's bad news for you.
It's not hell, but hell is repetition. And the Shadowfell is just a very dangerous place. The Feywild is an exceptionally dangerous place, but it's like radioactively so. So you can wander into the Feywild and not find your way back. And
don't eat anything, don't accept any gifts.
That is a place, if someone dies of like a murder, a red cap will get born. You know, like if someone feels super scared, you know, like there's like all kinds of things that can happen. It's like being on another planet. And you're not equipped and you do not have the immune system to really like survive that. And maybe there was a nefarious Fey Lord presence, archfey that decided to like grab you and take you there. There's no end of danger in the Feywild.
Certainly. And in the opposite direction as well, I feel, because like one of the things that it gets lost in that mix is like, what if the people on the other side just get tired of that? They get tired of living next door to some nightmare realm of nature run wild, and they bring their fire and cold iron, and you know, like the Fey Wanderer is there to protect the dryads and satyrs and whatever, much as because in my homebrew setting, there's a lot of tension between Fey and the sort of the rural folk who are often at odds with one another, and a Fey Wanderer would fit right in there as someone that's like a go-between.
Yeah, and that's a natural. I mean, that makes sense. If you watch Maleficent and Maleficent 2, which I love Maleficent 2, actually, if you haven't seen it, watch it. I think it's a very good film. I do have a hard time watching any film that makes me that angry, though. Dinner scenes, man. I hate when someone's talking shade. I can't watch it in TV shows and films for some reason. Like when they just don't believe, like you don't believe your best friend, even though like, you know, that whole plot, I hate that stuff. It drives me nuts in films. It drives me. Oh, you must be evil then. Oh, well.
Oh, here we go.
So anyways, we've gone far afield of, because I am weird.
That's all right.
So we got Dreadful Strikes. At 3rd level, you can augment your attacks with mind-scarring magic drawn from the gloomy hollows of the Unseelie Fae. You gain a bonus action that you can use to imbue your weapons or weapon. Interesting, because you can do both. You're currently holding with magic until the end of the next turn. Your weapons are magical, and they deal an extra 1d6 psychic damage on a hit. A creature can take this extra damage only once per turn. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can imbue your weapons as part of the same bonus action you can use to make this attack. So, I guess you really need to attack 2 creatures next to you.
Sure. Yeah, to get the maximum damage.
Maximum damage. I think that's kind of fun. I like that they allow for 2-weapon fighting.
Yes.
In this build.
And you almost wish that this language, which is also present in like say Green Flame Blade and Booming Blade, that's like as part of doing this, you can attack.
Yeah.
In with say, I would love it for like Hex or specifically Hunter's Mark, because it uses that bonus action. And but yeah, I really like this Dreadful Strikes feature. And like I saw this, and as well as like Monster Slayer, and attempts to give a ranger that extra damage without them needing to rely on Hunter's Mark. Right. Because one of the things with my ranger that I did was like, not taking it. Every ranger I've ever played with has taken it. They've all had the same 5 spells.
Hard not to take it.
It's hard not to. And so I went with did other things with my magic to the point where I was like, I just should multi-class into a druid. for my ranger. But
yeah,
Dreadful Strikes I like because it's like, first off, it's psychic damage. I like the idea of like, when I hit you, it's not just physical damage. Like I'm implanting maybe just base emotions into you. To me, the Whispers Bard has a similar feel for their like psychic blades, where it's
obviously this is a big theme right now, is psychic damage, and I assume is going to be a book eventually. It's going to come out with all these Unearthed Arcanas.
We did skip Cunning Will, I think, which was
we did. Oh no!
I guess the
okay. Sorry. So Cunning Will, 3rd level. Your experience with the Fey has guarded your mind and sharpened your tongue. You have an advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. If we're an elf, but this, I mean, now you got reason to be a human and do this. In addition, you gain proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: deception, performance, persuasion. Solid.
Yeah, this is one of the things where I like the Fey Wanderer, but I would be very tempted to give a player the ability to swap wisdom and charisma for this, and to just go full charisma caster for this, because otherwise you've got your attack stat, decent con, wisdom, your casting stat, and then if you want to do like the whole diplomat thing,
you got
charisma. So 4 is 3. I'll be like, all right, 3's fine. Primary, secondary, and con. But 4 is to me like a bit too much.
Maybe do expertise.
Yeah.
Instead, some form of expertise for Cunning Will would probably be stronger, and I would even take the hit on the saving throws. Well, I mean, I think you really need that. You really need that charmed or frightened resistance. Yeah. I would push this further to even having some kind of expertise and deception. If I made this druid, I would absolutely get that proficiency, by the way.
I'd pick it up somewhere else.
Is it prodigy? What's the feat?
Prodigy would let half elves, humans, half orcs, I think they all 3 of them get it. I love prodigy though as a feat. It's one of the reasons why I like variant human. Prodigy.
Variant human is pretty amazing. Blessing of the Courts. Knock it out.
What's this one? So Blessing of the Courts is your 7th level feature. You have learned eerie techniques from both the Gloaming Court and the Summer Court of the Feywild. And then once during each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend a spell slot to deal extra psychic damage. The extra psychic damage is 3d6. And the creature must make a wisdom saving throw against your save DC or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn. And whenever you make a charisma check, you gain a bonus equal to your wisdom modifier. So this might be where they're addressing some of the multi-attribute dependency here with that last part, letting you use your wisdom modifier if you need to make a charisma check.
This is completely independent of the fighting. Yeah. So
you get 2 benefits from it. Yeah.
And by the way, in addition, whenever you make a charisma check, you gain a bonus equal to your wisdom modifier. This does help that madness.
And I think like it being tucked away in the last year, that's why I wanted to reiterate it, because I feel like being tucked away behind something that's an extra 3d6 psychic damage and they might be frightened of you might cause you to forget or miss that you can use your wisdom. I did the first time around. I was like,
it's a single sentence.
It's kind of snuck in there. By the way, you get Paladin Smite, except it comes with a rider. This is really cool.
It's a good amount of damage. It is. I mean, this is a very psychic damage heavy ranger.
Yeah, you better hope nobody's got Mind Blank on. That's about your one counter to the heavy psychic damage is Mind Blank.
That would totally suck. So Beguiling Fist. So you get this at 11th level. You learn how to manipulate the mind-altering magic, channeling it from your allies towards others. Whenever a creature you see... Okay, I'm going to need so much help with this. Whenever a creature you can see within 120 feet of you succeeds on a saving throw against being charmed or frightened, you can use your reaction to force a different creature you can see within 120 feet succeed on a wisdom saving throw.
Suffer one of the following. So the wording is, so how I see
okay, I'm having a lot of trouble. I don't know if it's me.
So you're in a battle and your barbarian passes their save versus charm, and you can then against another creature entirely take that magic and redirect it to them. That's how I kind of see it.
Right.
and force them to make a save. In which case, it's the wording of it, like to succeed 120 feet of you to succeed on a wisdom saving throw or suffer one of these effects, including being charmed or frightened of you for 1 minute.
It's so much similar language in the same paragraph, close together that it's just like what
am I doing? How's this working?
It does make sense.
And it's also sort of like it requires the person to succeed. And so like I could almost see it working differently. Where it's like, oh, they failed. Oh crap, they're charmed. Never mind. I'm going to take that and throw it over here.
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of thing.
And so this is so situational. The creature is charmed or frightened by you now for up to a minute. The creature cannot repeat the save. Wait, the creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect upon self successful save. Or the creature takes 3d10 points of psychic damage. At 11th level, this feels really super situational. Yeah,
this is one of those where it's like, are you fighting Fey? Then this is going to be really useful. Like Fey and undead and other kind of, manipulative creatures.
But
fiends. Yeah.
But I don't know that I like am I being weird and feeling like this is a very cool ability, but so specific to the game you're playing?
Like I would love for my enchanter to be able to do this. Like this feels like an enchanter wizard ability, or like a Fey sorcerer type ability, something that's like, I'm going to take the magic and move it around.
But if you're doing it like a game that's even remotely theater of the mind at all, or like you combat's just not that, I can't remember the last time. Yeah. Well, I just threw a hag at my party. So.
But how often as a DM, do you try to charm someone in?
Yeah.
And that's charmed or frightened, by the way. So it could be either or.
Yeah.
And that's why I said
dragon fear. Yeah, dragon fear and stuff like that. I still feel it's very specific. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You're doing extra 3d10 of psychic damage, right? So
that's the thing, right? Although it's not it's either or. So it's not like if they pass that DC, they've taken half of that. So, but yeah, I could see it easily being like just extra damage on top of whatever it is whatever else it is you're doing. It's sort of like a bonus.
I don't know. I think I would like to just pop into the Feywild at 11th level.
That's the other thing I was saying. Like, can I not create like a fairy circle that?
Yeah,
lets me plane shift.
There's a couple other weird things I'd like to do at 11th level.
Yeah, certainly.
So I really don't. For some reason, I'm just not connecting with it. Yeah, it's sticking out.
It's definitely sticking out. Yeah, especially as like it seems like a dedicated caster feature to me. Something like a Twilight Druid would have, or a Dreams Druid would have, or an Enchanter or something like that. Bard, like this, right up a Bard's alley, right? Like,
yeah,
I feel like this would be great for that. So. Misty Presence.
Yeah, that brings us to Misty Presence. You can magically remove yourself from one creature's perceptions. You gain a bonus action that you can use to force a creature you can see within 30 feet to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target can't see or hear you for 24 hours. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of any turn. At the end of any turn during which you can hit it with an attack or forced to make a saving throw, or you dealt it damage, anything like it's basically invisibility.
Yeah.
The effect ends early if you use a bonus action again. Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. On a successful save, the target is immune to this feature for 7 days. Once you've used this as a bonus action, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest or until you expend a spell slot at 4th level or higher to use it again. Woo! Okay, we went from like a power that I kind of like don't necessarily understand completely to a power that is like, this is nasty.
This is nasty, yeah.
This is you. I have made everyone in this block not be able to know I exist, right? Because you get to do this, right? Like you can expend spell slots 4th or higher. So you can't like spam it too much, but you're making someone not know you exist for 24 hours. That's crazy.
I really like that. Like it reminds me of
Fey.
Very much. I had a class feature that I got from a homebrew that for my wizard that would allow him to do something similar. And I loved it because it was like, if I spend less than an hour talking to you, and you've got to make an intelligence save to remember any of those details.
Yeah.
And so I love things that play with the long game here. And this is like, all right, big bad, you think you're something else? Like, our ranger is gonna do something. You're gonna just forget they exist. You can't see them, you can't hear them. You're not gonna be able to perceive them as a threat. And they're gonna get somewhere. They're gonna sneak somewhere to get somewhere. You know what I mean?
As terrible as they think they are, like, you do this to a lich, you walk past it,
right?
Look through its books and find its phylactery,
And this is one of those things where I'm like, this, to me, this is like, it doesn't say you're invisible. It just says they can't see or hear you, which means they can't see or hear you with true sight. They can't see or hear you with blind sight.
They cannot see or hear you.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a fantastic film, Stardust. And of course, a book by Neil Gaiman, where what the queen witch curses another witch, you will neither hear the star nor see the star nor be aware of its presence, or be able to touch it even. This is one kind of level of curse, and it's like, nice, it's witchy. It's exactly what I want from
you vanish from their sight, and it's like, you can use it. So if you use it again on another target, it would cancel the first effect, but you can sort of chain it if you have 4th level slots. And because it lasts for so long, like, you can catch a little rest in there.
You can keep on trying.
And what I missed the first time around was they just get to repeat the saving throw if you do any one of those things. Like, they could still fail.
Yep.
And that is that's sort of something that I missed the first time around. So, like, that's different than just invisibility.
I wouldn't let. I think someone just asked in chat, would you let someone use true sight? And I wouldn't.
No,
but not with the wording of this. I also have her again. So this is the Fey Wanderer, and you sometimes try to save people and get them out.
Yeah.
I would say that you need to be able to apply this to a target of your choosing, not only yourself.
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to save like a child from the Feywild, you need to be able to cast that on that child because you are a shepherd. You're shepherding people from another location. So that's why I would change in this to be more on theme.
To have it be, you can either, it's you or someone else. I really like that because it gives you situations where, like, you're sneaking in and then you've got to bring someone out with you. So you have to risk being seen coming out.
Exactly. Like, and you're already a ranger, right? You've
already got passed without trace going on.
You've got all kinds of things working out for you. You can figure it out. You can do the sneaking. You can have one person who's like bungling around trying to get the Feywild.
Yeah. We need you to go get that ogre, and I think he's drunk, but he's going to make a mess of the summer court.
That is the worst. Oh
that's
my god,
15th level adventure.
Great level right there.
How do you deal with an ogre in a 15th level adventure? Well, you don't fight it. You got to babysit it.
Oh man, what a rough,
like an 8-foot toddler.
Yeah, I know. What a rough mission. It's delightful.
Yeah. I think for me, I agree. Like, they can't see or hear you, and that's the most straightforward reading of the ability.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if you read True Sight, it has very specific things it lets you see, right? Like, True Sight has even the spell or the ability that's listed in the monster manual.
Yeah, Tremor Sense. I would also I would make the wording very, very specific. I wouldn't just say hear or see. I would say not sense.
It cannot perceive you.
Yeah, I would go. I go full on. They would perceive books falling.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they would instantly know, boom, something real shady is happening.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing I don't think in D&D anything is like, you can never detect that something might be going on. You can always detect, like, if you're invisible, standing in a puddle is not a good idea because someone could look at the puddle and see the dimples, or, there's always some way to get around that. But in addition to that, there's always a next level of, well, there was invisibility, now there's improved invisibility, now there's this, now there's other things. So I like that there's multi-levels. Here's
a couple of things I got going on with this. And someone even mentioned this in chat. There's some similarities here with Soul Knife. You stab someone with psychic damage and then they're afraid of you.
Yeah.
That's already in Unearthed Arcana. But I like it for this build. I mean, I like it for the subclass.
It's in Whispers Bard as well.
It's in Whispers Bard as well. It makes sense. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I do want more shepherding. You do get that bonus to charisma and stuff, but like I've always liked the weird draconic soul sorcerer thing, which my wife used like the very first like 30 minutes. She was a draconic soul sorcerer. Was she used her increased persuasion on a dragon, which draconic soul sorcerers get.
Nice.
They actually have a benefit to having basically social interactions with dragons.
Yeah.
And she used that. I would like this for Fey. I would like to be able to talk to a dryad and or even like have a rational conversation with a red cap. Would be amazing.
Yes. So like this, I think of Fey Wanderer, and I think all of those, like if you played through Witcher 3, all of the little side quests where you're dealing with like, this thing is causing trouble for somebody, you can either kill it or you can talk to it.
Exactly.
And like this is the character that's like, I'm gonna talk to him. Like some of them need to be fought, right? Like clearly.
Yeah.
But
but the opportunity to talk to some creatures that are untalkable.
Yeah.
What was the bard of, I can't remember what bard we were talking about where you can actually talk to anything.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yes.
So
now
I would like a little bit of that action in there. I think Beguiling Twist is a really finicky and strange power. If you're in the Feywild, if you're in a Fey campaign or a Fey adventure of any kind, super useful. But it's so situational for an 11th level ability. I don't know.
Yeah, especially when, to me, it's like I think it would be kind of what I like potential for classes that have a planar affiliation is that they would unlock that plane as a feature of play for the campaign. And so like you might have players who like even at 11th level are like, yeah, we're not messing around with the Feywild because it's the Feywild. But if you've got a Fey Wanderer with you, maybe some kind of group buff or something like, I get you there and I protect you.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
I do have all right. I do have a note here though that I'm thinking about right now, and that I may be missing because I always tend towards the side of I'm missing something. Whenever a creature you can see within 120 feet of you succeeds on a saving throw, it's not a creature friendly to you. You cast Charm Person on something and it succeeds. You can say, you know what? I'm gonna have this apply to somebody else.
Ooh, that's a good point. That is a good point. It's just a creature.
And so if you're again, wait, so if they're saving versus fear as well, and you're using your ability, right? So your attacks. This is where this is making sense.
Yeah, this is where it starts. Yeah, you start to see the thing because this would apply to your was it the blessings of the courts?
Blessing of the stacks of blessing of the courts. So this is why I was missing. Sorry, in my first read of this, everyone.
No, that's good. No, it's good to pick it up because this changes things to me because it's like,
now this is popping no matter what. You are the origin of this thing happening in the first place, so now it makes complete sense.
Right.
Otherwise, then I'm like totally lost as to why the Beguiling Twist works. But no, you hit somebody, and even if they save, you have the opportunities to still mess with them even more. And in fact, it almost doubles up. Like, so you got 3d6 psychic damage, and then they need to make a wisdom saving throw, and then you can layer on another 3d10. This is now awesome.
It's got to be a different creature, though.
A different creature, but you are now like just smacking things like crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I really like that. Yeah, that's a good point.
I love it. Now I love it.
That's a good point. Yeah, now I love it because it's like that. You get triggers off your Charm Person that you get from Fey Magic if they. There's a lot of things.
I misread this. Well, I didn't misread it. I just didn't think because you're so used to thinking this is
about these abilities in isolation.
Abilities in isolation, or I'm used to abilities that look like they're reflective power. Like, and this looks like a reflective thing. But no, this means you can probably knock this out of the park every combat, right?
Yeah. It looks like you're going to be using your reaction a lot by 11th level, especially if it triggers off of any creature makes a save against Charm or Frightened.
This means you're frightening more characters when you're fighting, or you're doing way more damage. You
get some of your other casters in the party to work with you on this one, right? Like this is where I start looking at like party synergy and party support as being a way to elevate your game after a certain point. It's like, I'm going to pick spells that are going to trigger your class features. you know, and really start coordinating with your other players.
Okay, I have completely changed my mind by the end of this hour. I actually quite like the Fey Wanderer now. All that known, I'm like, okay, this is now very, very strong. 120 feet is great.
Yes.
120 feet is probably going to get knocked down a few.
Yes, which allows you, because coming back to Blessings of the Courts, it's just whenever you hit a creature with a weapon attack, could be your bow, could be your scimitar, you know. And so it lets you do that with your ranged.
Oh my God, you're right. You are like Cupid's bow. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked it. Now I love it even more. So
okay. Yeah. Now I am quite taken with this now. I love the Fey.
Give us a Fey Wild book, D&D. Come on. Don't make us scrounge for the 4th edition one.
I know Jeremy Crawford loves the Fey Wild, and
I'm hoping
one day we get something.
Book. Yeah. Oh, come on.
So I love this. Everyone's asking, like, okay, what about a mind flare? Can they detect your thoughts?
Maybe. I don't know. That's thoughts.
You might be able to detect their thoughts. You don't know where they're coming from.
You don't know where they're at. Yeah. And guess what? My 15th level ranger is going to put premium on Ring of Mind Shielding. Come on. It's not just mind flayers.
First off, everyone should have a Ring of Mind Shielding. It's a good
absolutely. Good place. It could have another person in there with you that keeps you company.
Yeah. That's why I always keep it on. It might be you one day.
Right. That might be the only way you survive, as the psyche trapped in a Ring of Mind Shielding.
Trust me, that's like one of the first things I go for if I can find one.
Absolutely.
Well, that's our Todd Talks. I now like the Fey Wanderer. I'm glad that we've done this, because before I was boo-pooing the Fey Wanderer and I was completely wrong. This is actually
sometimes you just gotta talk it out, you know.
Just gotta talk it out, everybody. Well, hopefully I'll talk to you next week. We may get another Unearthed Arcana. If not, maybe we should do another optimized class builds video.
I would do that. We could talk about this this teleporting electrocutioner that you mentioned earlier.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, I'm down.
I have an infinite teleporter, basically, and it's not a hard get. It's not overpowered, but it is like... I mean, if someone's teleporting 120 feet every round, it's a little exhausting for creatures, I would say. To, track that down. But we will talk more about that later. Thank you, everyone, for watching Todd Talks. Thank you, Jim Davis, who is part of WebDM, which is an amazing web video channel. They're all on the web now.
We're all over the place. Yeah.
And Patreon as well. If you're looking to learn D&D, or you want to just listen to two people very intelligently talk about D&D and all kinds of different builds and different story ideas and role playing, is a great channel. They're very wonderful, easy to listen to and watch.
Yes. Just shot a video over the Feywild as well, so look for that coming up soon. Hopefully
it's a good time for the Feywild.
Yeah,
I love the Feywild. All right, thanks everyone for watching.